We've all heard the refrain, men don't read books anymore. Let me ask you this. Are you a man who likes to read? Do you enjoy masculine books? Or, failing that, are you a man who would read such books? If only there were some available. Well, either way, I think I may have a few recommendations for you. Hello everyone, Michael Schulteis here, and today I'd like to introduce you to 5 books for the male reader. Let me state up front that these are ranked by alphabetical order of author's last name. Number 5 is not better or worse than number 1. So, what is a book for men? What is a man, anyway? We could waste a lot of time trying to deconstruct those questions, but for our purposes here, I'm only going to recommend stories with masculine themes of strength, courage, mastery, and honor. These are what the philosopher Jack Donovan calls the 4 tactical virtues. There are many wonderful books that deserve to be on a list like this, but each one of these 5 books really means something to me personally. That said, nothing would make me happier than to hear your top 5 books for men, so please feel free to share in the comments. Also, there's one other thing that all 5 of these books have in common. So far as I can tell, not a one of them has gotten much attention on BookTube yet. So, starting with Anderson Poole, we have The Golden Horn, first book in the last Viking trilogy. Set in the mid-11th century, this epic follows Harald Hardrada, a towering Viking warrior exiled from Norway after a failed rebellion. He joins the Varangian Guard in Constantinople, fighting in brutal battles, amassing fortune and fame, all while plotting his return to claim the throne of Norway. It's historical fiction at its finest. Think sword clashes, Byzantine intrigue, and the raw ambition of a legendary Norse king. For any man drawn to tales of warriors, exile, and triumphant conquests, this series starter will hook you hard and make your TBR feel conquerable again. There are a number of things I love about this book, starting with the character of Harald Hardrada himself. I don't know about you, but for me, he was little more than a footnote to the events of the fateful year 1066. The fellow who was defeated by Harold Godwinson, before the latter in turn was defeated by William the Conqueror. And oh, how wrong I was. Harald Hardrada was an incredible, larger-than-life figure, even by the standards of a gloriously violent age of warrior honor. And his story is so profoundly colorful and audacious that you may find yourself questioning how it could possibly be true. Now, for our next book, we're leaving Earth entirely. A Princess of Mars by Edgar Rice Burroughs. Imagine being a Civil War veteran, suddenly transported to the red planet of Mars, or Barsoom, as the locals call it. John Carter finds himself in a dying world of warring tribes, giant green aliens, and a beautiful princess named Dejah Thoris. With superhuman strength of Earth's gravity, he battles his way through epic fights and forbidden romances. This is pure pulp adventure that kickstarted the sci-fi, fantasy genre, Sword and Planet, call it what you will. Think sword fights on alien worlds, and you're there. If you like heroic quests and otherworldly action, this one's a must to shake up your reading routine. I'll add too, I don't think there is a more perfect example of the classic adventure tale, the kind that has a sword-wielding hero, monsters to fight, and a beautiful lady to adventure with. In fact, I'm convinced that Princess of Mars ultimately drove me to write the very book that is number 3 on our list today, The Altar of My Fate, Book 1 of the Rostival Saga by yours truly, Michael R. Schulteis. It's the story of Rostival, a warrior prince who yearns for glory and craves adventure in unknown lands. Leading the war band he created, he sets off on a quest to brave a formidable desert and the swords and arrows of a growing number of enemy tribes. He expected the mounting dangers, but he didn't expect Gaita, the beautiful slave girl with a secret, and the power and peril of an ancient altar, an artifact of the vanished Shaper race. As his enemies multiply, Rostival is forced to confront an immortal adversary and the looming specter of defeat. Can Rostival and Gaita avert disaster and claim the fateful power of the ancient Shaper altar? One word of caution, this story has a lot of mature content, and some readers may be disturbed by the rather explicit portrayals of concubinage in particular. Now, on the other hand, if you crave pulpy, sword and sorcery tales of barbarian warriors, sultry slave girls, and arrogant gods, The Altar of My Fate may be the perfect addition to your summer or fall TBR. Moving on to number 4, I've heard tell that everyone encounters one piece of media between the ages of, say, 9 to 13. And that one piece of media, may be a book, film, show, a video game, goes on to shape their fundamental outlook. Well, I think there may be truth to that, at least in my case, and if so, I think for me that book is number 4 on our list. Call It Courage by Armstrong Sperry. This children's classic follows Mafatu, a young Polynesian boy who's terrified of the ocean after a childhood tragedy. But when the taunts from his village become too much, he sets off on a solo voyage, together with his pet dog and his pet albatross. Yes, really. To prove his bravery, facing storms, sharks, and survival on a deserted island. It's a timeless tale of overcoming fear and finding inner strength. Perfect for any man looking to rediscover his own courage, and, too, perfect for any father to read to his young son, or, for that matter, his young daughter. I will say, though, that even if you don't have kids, or don't have kids yet, as the case may be, this book is still worth your while. It's an unbelievably well-written and engaging story with not one but 2 amazing animal companions. There's the thrill of watching Mafatu learn how to survive on a desert island, the joy of his friendships with his dog and his albatross, and there's a profound, mythic, even transcendent dimension to the story, the quest to discover one's own courage. And what absolutely elevates this book for me is the incredible prose. It's perfectly accessible for young readers. I was maybe a preteen when I first read it. Young, at any rate. And yet, it's so evocative that it's haunted me for most of my life. And I'm 40 now, so we may be talking a quarter century or thereabouts since I read it last. Get this book, read it. If you have a son, read it to him. If you have a daughter, read it to her. Now, finally we have I, the Jury by Mickey Spillane. Enter Mike Hammer, the toughest private eye in town, on a vendetta after his war buddy is gunned down. This debut novel is a raw, no-holds-barred ride filled with dames, double crosses, and brutal justice. Spillane doesn't pull punches. Expect gritty violence, steamy encounters, and a hero who plays by his own rules. If you're a fan of classic noir with a hard edge, this book's explosive energy will blast through your reading drought like a 45 slug. Now, if you've never encountered Mike Hammer, think Harry Dresden with the 45 and 1940s sensibilities. There. That right there will tell you everything you need to know about whether you should give this book the hardest of all hard passes or whether you should put it at the top of your TBR. Mike Hammer is the perfect noir detective hero. Hard-boiled, handy with a gun, a clever sleuth, and a ladies' man who can never seem to limit himself to just one. Now, if you're thinking that there's nothing subtle about the man, and I mean, look at the name, you'd be right, except that the mystery is wonderfully woven, and in my experience, Spillane really keeps you guessing. I'll add, too, that as much as I enjoyed I, the Jury, Book 2 of the series, My Gun is Quick, improves on I, the Jury in every way. I couldn't put it down, and I tore through the final chapters with the speed of a bullet. So, there you have it, my top 5 fiction reads for men. Have you read any of them? What did you think? Drop a comment, let us know, and let us know your top 5 as well. If you're still watching, thank you, and I hope to catch you next time.